Hello and welcome to sovereignrpg. I am Matt and today we're back in Dune Awakening. Now, I made a build video for Heavy Gunner build not too long ago and it didn't work out as I wanted to work out. I wanted to have the Heavy Gunner build be a primary amount of damage that you get from the heavy weapons. Now, today's build is going to be a scattergun build that I like to call the Engineer. Now, there was a comment on one of my YouTube videos that actually gave me this idea, and in my head I started to roll around with some kind of RP way of looking at it. The Engineer is going to be using certain things, certain skills, certain abilities, certain techniques. It's going to be, so I wanted to kind of build around that because that's what I do when I build my characters. I kind of have an idea in my head of what I want the character to be, and that really helps with my enjoyment of actually playing the character and the build that I'm working towards. Now, I was thinking of this build to be a kind of run and gun, shotgun, scattergun type build with the use of mines, with the use of grenades, with the use of turrets to give it that engineer type feel. So first up, we're going to go through the loadout of what I'm currently running with this build. Now, there will be some footage at the end of the build in play. I'm not going to make the same mistake I did last time and play it while trying to talk and think, but it's footage of me running it in duos with a friend of mine, Dread, and how the build actually works. So we are running purely scatterguns. I've got the two different kinds of scatterguns here. This is the penetrator. Now, the penetrator is 154.5 damage per shot. Now, I know there's the 60-40 rule, 60% for headshots and 40% for body shots when it comes to doing damage. So 40% of that 154.5 will be in a body shot, which the drill shots when firing on a shield seem to only do body damage. And I'm going to trust Vash in his videos in the way that he does his mathematics and stuff like that, because that's not something that I personally do. If you want to check out his videos on the weapons of damage, I would definitely check him out. He breaks down everything really well and I do enjoy watching his videos. But that's not what this video is about. This is just a build video on what I'm currently running and what I've been testing out. And on our second shotgun, we use the Regis burst drill shot. Now, the difference between these two shotguns is, so when you fire this one, it will hit the shield on the outside, and after a certain amount of time, it will drill through it. Now, this scattergun will also stagger once it goes through the shield, so you can fire it once. And sometimes you're going to want to wait because you'll fire the one shot and maybe they'll dash out of it and you can just fire the second shot. Sometimes you'll be lucky enough to get both shots off at the same time and just go bang, bang, and it will both go through relatively at the same time. It does quite a significant amount of burst damage. Now, the second scattergun we got is the Regis burst drill shot. Now, this one you hold down with the left click and it fires 2 successive rounds, and it has 4 in the chamber before you have to reload. Now, again, you're going to probably want to empty 2 in there, make sure they don't dash out of the way, and then fire the second 2, and you'll be able to crack on and you'll do a significant amount of damage. But the last shotgun we're using currently right now is the Eviscerator. Now, I do have the Perforator, which is the T6 variant of this. I haven't got it built yet, but for this build, as the footage that we have in the background, we're using the Eviscerator. Now, this one is only tier 4 and it still does 326. Now, this takes 4 shots to kill a non-shielded target in the highest level of PvE currently in the game. Now, the first 2 drill shots that we have here, they use heavy darts. Now, the Eviscerator uses light darts. It has 48 in the chamber and it fires 12 light darts per shot. You get 4 shots while you're actually using this, and then you have to reload. Now, bear in mind, let's just empty that out. When you're reloading, you are walking quite slowly when reloading this, but those 4 shots will kill a non-shielded target, the ranged gunner targets that you get inside of the PvE laboratories. I do have a sword in here, but I don't ever use it. It's just there just in case. In certain PvP situations, maybe I want to get a parry off, etc., to stagger a target. That's also going to be useful. So we are using the heavy armor set. Now, I have tested some light stuff as well. I got the pin cushion set, but I do prefer using the heavy armor set. I just seem to have way more survivability when I'm using this set. We got the Chome heavy helmet, we got the Chome heavy greaves, gloves, and boots, since there hasn't been that much in the way of unique drops for heavy armor currently. But I do have the power harness, which gives us an extra 50 maximum power. Now, I'm not too worried about the dash stamina cost and the blade mitigation because we are shoot, move, shoot, move, shoot, move. We do a lot of kiting and it does heavy, high burst damage. Now, I know there's going to be people that comment saying that melee is just better. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe I'm just not good at melee, which is, I mean, it's not really hard to argue with. It's just what I like to play. So let's just get that out of the way. And we have the Holtzman Shield Mark 5. We have the full suspensor belt. I just prefer to use the full suspensor belt. I don't like to sit in hover in certain directions. I use this to get around with, to get to different areas. It gives me more control in where I'm going to be moving to. And we have the Power Pack Mark 6, which gives us 800 power pull, plus the 50 from the power harness, giving us 850. I got this and I was still continuing to try to do the heavy weapon build, considering the plasma cannon I was using did use our power, so the more power we had, the better. And then just some standard loadout stuff that I carry with me. I always carry my welding torch with my wire, etc, etc. And I mean, I have my health kits all the time usually. I just forgot in the last video, but we didn't forget in this further one. So let's go into the skills now. So we are mostly a trooper and a mentat build. Now what I currently have in here is 3 points in the range damage, 3 points in center of mass. Now I believe that you do not get headshots while firing drill shots at a shield, so center of mass gives us the extra 20% body damage. I could be wrong with this, but through the testing I cannot seem to see that there will be headshots coming from the scatterguns. Now we have the 3 points in scattergun, which gives us 15% extra damage. We have field maintenance 3 and gunsmith level 3 because the weapons are harder to come by, especially when you're using the tier 6, so the longer that you have one available for use, the better, until you can get another one or stack up multiple of them. It's just that this one here basically stops the amount per shot, and this one lowers the amount of durability loss when actually repairing the weapon. Now I have got the anti-gravity, the gravity field, and the collapse grenades all active. I swap these in and out depending on what situation that I'm currently using, and we have suspensor efficiency, so I lose less power when, because I'm using the suspensor belt as my mobility around the field, because I have Shigawire Claw, but I very rarely use it. I'm using most of my abilities for damaging and CC, and this build has a lot of CC available to it, so it is really good in the group dynamic. It's still pretty decent in a solo setting, much better than a heavy gunner, and it's a lot more fun. Now in the mentat skill line we have the Sentinel. This is a core ability for this build. I use the Sentinel, and there's a lot of people that say that it's not very good, but this guy, when you're moving around a lot around the field, placing this down when you're having to get to a better position because you are only ranged, you're not using melee combat, it is very good to keep the damage up, and it is especially very good for non-shielded targets. And when I'm throwing down my gravity field, etc., like you'll see when the waves come in PvE, it will actually finish off the shields of targets that are being like that have having the power drain from your gravity field and your gravity mines. We have 3 in range damage. We have 2 in the Garment Keeper. I need a couple more points to be able to put this in for the 3rd point, but I will be getting this on here. And we have 3 tailoring. I also have exploit weakness, which I currently use, which gives us 30% extra damage for 10 seconds. And this allows us to quickly dispatch of enemies that have their shields dropped. And it adds on, especially when you're using the body shots with the center of mass and the exploit weakness. These are the 2 I mainly hold within here. Now we have shield wall. That's just a placement so I can get the gravity mine and anti-gravity mines. Both of these have massive area effects. So if we throw down the grenade right now for the anti-grav, you can see the size of the spherical. Now it goes underneath as well if there's people underneath, or like if you're on the stairs and blah blah blah. Now it's pretty decent. Now the only issue I have with the gravity mine is the fact that you set it off yourself when you place it. It's kind of weird that you can't throw the, like if you hold it down, you can't throw it down, you kind of have to be there. So when you have to run out of it. Now, for once, that actually didn't go off. I've had this go off a million times. This goes off every time I go near it. And now, for some reason, during this video, it's not going to... So this is going to be even better now. So I'll place that mine down and I'll put it in a doorway. You can detonate it if you want it to go off quickly. I can't believe it actually worked. It has been setting off itself constantly the past 3 days of testing this build. Now, but you can see that the sphere is actually massive compared to the grenade and lasts a hell of a lot longer. Now, it seems like I'm really happy that's working now, because that's going to really help the build further in the future. Now we have the sentry turret as well, which I've got on here, which basically goes down. You can detonate it to set it up, and you can put this. What I would do with this, when you'll see in the footage later on, if you put it up on a elevated position, it will fire in all directions, because even if you can see a target directly behind this wall for it standing up, it will not see that target and will not fire at that target. It has to have a clear full body line of sight, which kind of sucks, and it's kind of like something that's against the game right now. But and what like the way that it works, you can't even really shoot round. For instance, if you're trying to shoot around a target like that, it will show that it's shooting through, but it's actually hitting this corner here, even though you're shooting to the side of it. It can be really finicky, which is why range combat, I feel, is in a worse position than melee right now, in more ways than one, obviously. But then we have the source of power, which I do throw in there when I'm in a group play. When you put this one down, you put it down and it actually does a significant amount of power, so you can actually gain all your power back as quickly as possible. This would have been really good in a heavy gunner build for sure, because you can place this down and just fire, and you can fire forever. Now this is a really cheeky way of using a las gun, where you place this down and you can forever shoot a las gun as long as you want. It's kind of cheesy, But I use this in a group setting for like outside of PvP when we're doing the PvE stuff. Now in the planetologist tree, we just have the vehicle repair and fuel efficient pilot because this is all I currently do. We use everything is being used, and we have players who have the cut array mining and the vehicle mining and the sand crawler. I'm not that guy. I fly the carrier and I fly the assaults when we're doing certain things, so I don't need to have those abilities because I already have a job within the group setting. Now in a Bene Gesserit line, we have 3 in recovery, we have 3 in self-healing, and 3 in vitality. This adds maximum health to ourselves. This one boosts our healing effectiveness, and this one boosts our healing regen limit, so our health goes over the top. This just helps because we are using our ranged weapon when we're firing, we come out of the shield, and it gives us just a little bit more HP. And when I'm wearing the heavy armor instead of the light armor, I can take significant amount of damage outside of that. And because it goes up quite quickly when using a shotgun, it goes down and up again. You're really not having to worry about it too much, so it's actually pretty decent. Now in the Swordmaster, I went up and got Thrive of Danger. I use this sometimes, not all the time, but this gives us a health regeneration of 200%. It reduces the poise damage. This is really good when you're fighting against melee PvP, and sometimes you're only getting like stormed and you're getting run by like 4 or 5 guys in melee PvE. This helps you to survive a hell of a longer. This will be nerfed soon. It'll be dropped to 35% on the reduced poise damage, but it's still pretty decent for this moment in time as we're currently running with it. We'll have to see how it actually affects it once we actually do see what happens with this one. So on the right side of the tree, I picked up Field Medicine, which gives us Heal Kit instant restoration bonus of 20%. It gives us more instantly, which is always nice, especially in a build where you do drop your shields quite regularly. We optimize hydration to give us an extra stamina bonus when we're hydrated, which I always am. I even carry around a decaliter John, even though it's so heavy, to have water to fill myself up all the time, to always have 100% hydration. And we have general conditioning, which raises our max stamina by 25. This gives us quite a decent amount of dodges, as you can see. Even though we're wearing heavy armor, we can get 6 dodges out of it before, and it replenishes quite quickly. So it gives us 2 stamina bars and a bit for us to be able to get in there and just like do something. Now I stopped using the Suspensive Dash because the Suspensive Dash is going to mess with our shields, especially when it's going to be changing here pretty soon when it with the nerf that has currently happened. And that's what we have in the way of skills. Now, as I said earlier, I will swap these in and out depending on what situation I'm in, depending on what we're doing. I'll swap out different kinds of grenades. Like for instance, there was a moment where there was 2 guys standing behind the doorway when we were doing the PvP labs in Deep Desert, and I used the collapse grenade to drag him in, and he wasn't able to escape, and we were able to kill him. Now I did that multiple times in a fight. I'll hopefully have the footage up there in the background so you can see that happening. It was a lot of fun. Now that is the build I've got currently running for PvE and PvP in the Deep Desert. Scatterguns, drill shots, they're quite strong in PvP at the moment, and if you don't like the way the melee works in the game, it's definitely a great alternative. Now I'm going to have a full PvP laboratory duo run through after this to show off what kind of thing we got with this build. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Fly safe and avoid local chat scams.
A lot of ranged dudes across the ramp right now.
Yeah, there is.
Getting rid of the snipers right now. Snipers are down.
Taking the heavy dude down the bottom. I just broke his shield. The turret is fucking naughty, bro.
It is, dude. It distracts that. Like, they sit there and stare at them too. It's so funny. Alright, I'd say in this wave we could probably do the inside back room.
They didn't spawn upstairs? That's some fucking bullshit.
There's 3 melee back here with me. More guys just came out the door.
Yep.
It's so funny. Alright, all the melee are down. It's so funny that they, like, just ignore melee entirely.
Yeah. Ran back upstairs again. Hopefully something spawns this time. Yeah.
Had none down at my door in the bottom. None, completely none in the bottom. I'm gonna go teleport over. Oh, I got a melee on me. Gonna take care of the flamer over there. Well, it's good to know that you can't free ride zone changing. I guess that would be a little OP if you could have a bunch of people on your copter with rockets flying around in PvP. A lot in the bottom. 5 total. I'm gonna go up top and clear the range guy. Literally sitting in the fire.
Oh shit, I got loads of melee here.
Yep, that's why I left that room.
Oh, it's upstairs. They ran upstairs after me.
Alright, the 2 range guys are down.
Throw a grenade at him.
These guys are dropping a lot more bandages, I've noticed. Like, I get way more bandages drops off these guys now. Way more. Got 5 guys came out of this bottom door. Oh my god. None out of the other bottom door. I'm gonna kite some of these dudes to be able to kill them. I actually dropped a green. Oh, wait. to increase headshot damage in this game if they ever want melee to compete. Or range to compete with melee, I mean. The shield's about to go down. I'm gonna hide for a second.
God damn.
That wasn't that bad.
It was easy. 3's definitely the right number to do these fast. I'll go open the door for the key card if you want to go check the chest, and then just to be fair, like, I guess try to let him have a blueprint, maybe. I guess see how many blueprints there are. How many blueprints there are, and try to divvy them up evenly.
Up or whatever. I feel like they said it could be like anywhere between like 2 to 6. Probably more leaning towards the 6.